Okay. Okay, Raymond. So tell me, who is Taino Transport? Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, taino transport is me, I guess, um, a former over the road driver myself for 23 years. And most of it was done with the open deck industry, um, flatbed, step deck, RGN trailers, um, stretch trailers, multi-axle. And that's where my expertise comes in. That's what I specialize in. But after my injury, I can't drive anymore. So I love the industry, and I want Taino Transport to continue in this industry. Um, as I transition into the logistics broker agent side and putting together, I'm the middleman and want to get the shipper and the carrier and work with them to get, the work done and their product delivered. That's who I am. That's who Taino is, bringing hardworking people together.
Okay. So you mentioned broker agent. Tell me what that does in your industry.
Broker agent, we're the middleman. Shippers have a hard time already. They can't do it all. So they have to run their department, get trucks loaded, pick orders. They don't have time to be sitting there and hire a whole new different individuals and train them to find carriers. And with all the paperwork that comes along and checking their safety ratings and making sure the documents, insurance, they're registered, their MC numbers are up to date and all that. That's a lot of work. That's where I come in. I check all that before I assign a driver or carrier to a shipper that needs his load delivered. So we are the middleman, and that's how we get a percentage, of whatever negotiations we have with the shipper. But we take care of the driver, the carrier. They have a lot of responsibility. They have an overhead that's a lot more than mine or the shipper at times. Mm-hmm. And so they need to get paid, I believe what they're worth. And they're worth a lot. Without them, everything stops.
No, a question on that stopping, because as you're speaking, I remember the pictures that you sent me about the rigs that you've been hauling.
Oh yeah.
And so the transport is not just, you mentioned open
deck. That's like where you could see the freight. Anything without the
anything
walls.
That's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, not like a closed-in trailer where you can't see what's in it. Open deck trailers is flat, where they could get loaded from side to side, back, and you could see what's on there. You know what I mean? What's on that trailer? Those are open deck trailers.
All right. In your experience as a driver, you've had a lot of different size things with extra wheels hanging in the back, right? You've done all that kind of extra big transport,
right?
So as
they call that oversized, overdimensional.
Okay, so as a driver, what do you think is the percentage of work that the company would be hauling, as far as this percentage is going to be regular, open deck or just a regular trailer, versus the larger? What percentage do you envision that you would be doing, let's say, in the next year?
Well, I want to do a little bit of everything, because I'm experienced on a little all of that. Let me rephrase that. The produce industry is a unique industry
What do you
where,
mean?
well, to haul food, like produce, going to the farms.
No, yeah, but give me the detail because it's all in your
Yep.
head. But I want to see the picture the detail that you're looking at that makes you tell me about this specific industry.
Well, the produce industry, that's where I'm going to try to stay out of that part of the trucking, because I don't have the experience that most, when it comes to produce.
Mhm.
I never liked it, and I didn't want to haul it because there's a lot to it. And if you don't have that refrigerated to the right temperature, that food goes bad. Guess who's responsible? The driver.
Mm, mm,
So I never had a cargo claim against me,
mm.
like where, and I don't want to. So I'm staying out of that industry, and I'm being wise about it. You know. So I'm staying with the dried goods that go into a dry van, a closed
Yeah.
in, and open deck. That's where my strength is.
Okay. I appreciate you bringing that in.
Mhm.
You play to your strengths,
Yep.
and you from that's what actually has brought you to this point. So I can appreciate what I just learned about the produce industry. So,
Mhm.
so you as an individual have done work. Now you're coming in to make better relationships with shippers and manufacturers, and bring in your network of trusted individuals in the field uh, to uh, to make a profitable organization.
Yeah.
So what is it that you bring into this pool of all these other brokers, that and 8 broker agents, that you believe will set Taino Transport apart?
Well, what sets me apart and Diana Transport apart, my experience. These big conglomerates, C.H. Robinson, TQL, Landstar is both. They have a broker and transportation side, but like C.H. Robinson, TQL, and the other ones, they're strictly brokerage firms, and they're how do you call that, their employees that they hire, they don't they're 9 to 5ers. They punch in, they punch out, they go home. They don't care after that about the freight, the driver, or they really don't. They really don't. They're 9 to 5ers. Um, and their turnover rate in the industry for hiring is a lot.
Mm,
It's high because this industry is demanding.
mm,
And what sets me apart, my experience. I know what to look for when it comes to getting the right driver with the proper credentials and experience to the shipper. Because the shipper wants to feel comfortable and at ease because he's got or she's got a lot of work to do, and they're putting that on me. I want to build that trust relationship. Say, I'll take care of it from here. And that's my job, to get the right guy, the right woman carrier over there. Um, and my phone is going to be always on.
mm,
Where that carrier could say, I have a flat tire, something happened with my truck, Ray. I contact the shipper right away and keep them in the loop.
mm,
C.H. Robinson and those guys, they're gone for the day. They don't work the weekends. You know what I mean? And they could be talking to 2 or 3 or 4 different people when it comes to that one load, that one shipment. They switch it on, they pass it on to somebody else. So the shipper's like, well, I talked to this person before. Where's that person I talked to? And miscommunication, you know how that goes. You pass the ball, pass the buck. You know what I mean? Communication get lost. In this industry, communication is key. Number one. is safety, communication, number one. And in those big companies, that's where they get lost. Yeah, they're $1 billion companies, but a lot. I know I've used them before when I was a driver. Sometimes I get freight off of them, and I know how they work. I know how they work personally. So taino is different than that. We're gonna hone in and be personal and build that relationship of confidence with both sides, the shipper and the carrier.
Wonderful. So who are you looking for when you have a network? We can always bring in more talent.
Yeah.
We need to have the people who have the goods to ship. Who are you looking for, or how are you going about reaching out to those who make the decisions to trust Taino Transport with their shipping? Who are you looking for to make that relationship with?
Good question. Very good question. And that's a tough one because a lot of these shippers and manufacturing in whatever industry they're in, sometimes they're set in their ways and they don't want to start new, even
because
though
they trust.
Even though
They know the evil I'm sorry, I need to interrupt. The evil that you know is better than the evil that you don't know.
Yeah. Even though they know they've had problems with that broker, that they're using, and they just sometimes are set in their ways. They don't want to switch over and try and step into some new waters. Sometimes you have to. It's a big world we live in. People retire, companies close. You got to be open to try something new, try somebody new. They could bring something new to the table.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I could bring that new to the table because I have experience. I lived on that road for 23 years, and 75% of my time was in that truck on the road that I slept on. You know what I mean? And I know what it takes. And so I have the experience. If they could trust me, open that door, we'll build a long-lasting relationship. I guarantee you. And for the oversized freight, I'm going to throw this in there. For the oversized freight, it takes a special person to know that. You have permits, and there is no rushing when it comes to oversized loads, like overdimensional stuff. The shipper knows that there is no rushing in that part because you have to wait for the states to give you permits, to assign you permits. Sometimes you have to wait for police escorts, and that has to be all lined up in advance. So getting from point A to point B, even though it may be 1,000 miles, may take you a week because they reroute you off of the interstates to all kinds of little country roads and stuff like that. And it's slow going, and we all know that. They all know that, but I bring experience to the table.
Okay.
And I have drivers that know a lot more than I do, and I've learned a lot from them, that are still out there doing this. And they're good at what they do. They got, and then I don't look at favoritism. Show me what you got. Let me see your credentials, and I don't mind working with you. Because your experience and your credentials speak for itself. You know what I mean? I have safe awards from companies, best driver of the month, safe year after year. A year of safety record. Safety, no accidents, no cargo claim. I pride myself in that. My license is squeaky clean. No points on my license. So, and for this industry to have that speaks for itself.
That's
it
great.
Really does.
Okay. I'm going to shut down the recording. Hold on a second.